So I guess by now you all heard about the Queen of England dying. So why didn't she become vegan? That's what I'm intrigued about. Like all of these supposedly good people, what stops them?
That vegan teacher, the internet's favorite vegan, right behind Nikocado Avocado. Except, I'm lying. Sorry about that. Now we all know that that vegan teacher has used certain events in the past to try and advocate for veganism, and while they normally don't make any sense whatsoever and have no actual correlation to veganism, they also tend to be quite questionable uses of what tend to be sensitive topics. Everyone knows the one she brings up the most, the thing that the bad man with the mustache did that for some reason YouTube doesn't like you talking about. I guess history is just not supposed to be discussed on this website. And most recently, as I'm sure many of you already know, the Queen of England passed away a few days ago, and if you didn't think that that vegan teacher would take that topic and somehow turn it into a video about veganism, well then somehow you would be wrong. Now I know that a lot of people are not huge fans of the royal family, myself included. They've done some questionable things to say the absolute least, but that doesn't make this video any less weird or any less in poor taste to take the death of a person who many hold close to their hearts and turn it into a YouTube clickbait video to try and promote your personal agenda. Yeah, that's kinda weird. But let's see what that vegan teacher has to say. Maybe we're not giving her a chance. Let's begin. Please subscribe.
Hey everyone! So I guess by now you all heard about the Queen of England dying. Now I was kind of wondering what you all thought about her. But first of all, let me show you what's written on my shirt.
I'm not interested.
So I'm wondering what you think about the Queen. Now, she died in her 90s. Now, let's just assume at the beginning of her life, just like all of us, she was innocent and she was just being fed these dead animals without really knowing what's going on.
Innocent? Does that imply that people who eat meat who aren't children are guilty of something? Not living their life in the way that you expect them to? Not conforming to your idea of how you should live life? Because that's all I can think of. Otherwise, I don't think they're guilty of anything.
You know, I always say on this channel that we are all born vegan because being vegan is about the animals. It's not about food. It's not about health. It's about making the declaration that you are not going to exploit animals anymore and really working hard towards that end.
Then I don't think you can really say that we're all born vegan then, because if being vegan is about making the declaration to stop eating animals, I don't think any babies are doing that. I've never seen that. I think most babies are worried about stuff like building blocks and potentially finding tasty small plastics, not making declarations about their diet.
So why didn't she become vegan? That's what I'm intrigued about. Like all of these supposedly good people, what stops them? This is why on this channel I try to reach out to so many creators who have millions of followers. The vast majority of them don't listen to me. That's out of my control.
Well, being one of the creators that you have reached out to, Miss Katie, there is something you could do about that. You could try reaching out in a somewhat respectful manner and, not talk to people like they're an 8-year-old, and maybe that might get some people on your side. Also, don't condemn people for a dietary choice and act like they are the spawn of Satan for eating a hamburger. Just a few tips.
Because there's a difference between polite and kindness. When you're polite, you say please and thank you, and you sit up straight, hold the door open for people, wear your little white gloves and your hat and your little pearls, and you don't disturb anyone.
The Queen of England and the royal family, not disturbing people is not really what they're known for. I get your point, but maybe reword it.
That's being polite. But it's not the same thing as being kind. Being truly kind involves bravery. It involves digging down deep and doing what's right, even if you won't be popular.
No. That's not really the definition of kind. I know what you're getting at. You're trying to say that you are a kind person because, you do all this stuff and you say all these things and people don't like you for it, but that's not why people don't like you. Most people, unless they're just super immature, don't have a problem with vegans. That phase has passed, and if it hasn't for you, then you probably need to grow up a bit. People don't not like the things you say, Miss Katie, not because you're a vegan, but because the things you say make no sense.
I am comparing them, the two of them, because what happens to the animals animals is in fact worse.
So what she's comparing here and what she's saying the treatment of animals is worse than is once again what the mustached man did, which, I mean, going back to what I just said, this is why people don't like the things you say, Miss Katie. Is it sad the way that most farm animals are treated? Yes. Like I've said in every video I've ever done talking about that vegan teacher, there needs to be some sort of reform to the way that our meat is produced in this country. There are issues, there's a lot of them, and they need to be fixed, and we shouldn't ignore that. However, saying that that is worse than the mass murder of human beings, this is why people don't listen to your message, Katie.
Imagine if the Queen of England had said, no chicken for me, tofu, lentils, beans, chickpeas, rice, anything else. I want to be nice. I don't want to just be polite. Imagine if she had done that. God, it's so cool. Imagine if at dinner time she didn't say, no roast. She would say, no roast beef for me. I will be having anything else on the menu.
Alright, so this is the only person that when she's made this statement about, it sort of makes sense to me. She said the same thing about like Gordon Ramsay or Darman, how if they went vegan, all their viewers would too, which is just ridiculous. But I'm sure that if the Queen went publicly vegan, that there probably would be a noticeable increase in veganism in Britain. I mean, maybe, I'm not sure, but I feel like it might do something. But at the end of the day, that's not the Queen's responsibility. It's nobody's. It's nobody's responsibility to change their diet for you. It's just not. And how she doesn't get this after all these years, I still don't understand.
People like him, all the chefs of the world said, we are tired of abusing animals. We are tired of paying into this system. We're tired of not being brave. We want to be brave and speak out, even if you don't like us that much. We want to do the right thing. We want to leave a legacy of kindness on this planet. So from now on, all of them would wear on their lapels here, on their jackets, or on their chef coats, vegan from now on. I'm a vegan chef. Can you imagine?
That vegan teacher, imagine if everybody on the planet said, I'm gonna give August the Duck my yearly salary every year. Imagine that. That'd be great, right? For me. Just like this make-believe scenario where everybody is living by your rules sounds great to you. But guess what? All these chefs are not afraid of going vegan. They don't want to, just like a lot of the population doesn't want to either. I don't necessarily love the idea of animals dying for my diet, but I honestly don't hate it either. I like ribeyes and I like chicken sandwiches a little bit too much. Does that make me a bad person? To you, Katie, probably, but I really don't care, and I don't think anybody does either.
You know what? When there's a fire, I don't run to the fridge to rescue the vegetables and the fruits, because plants don't have feelings. Plants are not alive. They're not sentient. We could argue if they're alive or not, but they're not sentient. They don't feel. Plants don't feel pain. They don't have a brain. They don't have a nervous system, so it's okay to bite into them.
Alright, so the context of this is that she's saying when firefighters go around talking to children at schools, they should talk about how they don't save the plants in the fridge, and how that's an argument for veganism. I mean, what? I'd probably try to save like my computer in a fire. Does that mean we should stop making computers and stop making them work for us? I mean, what kind of argument is that? You know when you've reached this level in the argument, you have nothing real to say. So the rest of the video was really just her repeating this whole imagine scenario. Imagine if everybody was a vegan, which I don't feel like I need to explain why that's not effective. She really holds on to this firefighter thing, which I don't know what point she's trying to get across. The only thing I can think of is she's trying to point out that in some situations we rescue animals and in some situations we eat them, which, I mean, sure, but I don't think there are many people who are in favor of burning any animal alive. So again, I don't know where that's going. And then she goes on saying that she's always done her best to encourage people to become vegan, which, I mean, that's questionable. You really just demonize people and attack them if they don't live their life the way you want. So, I don't know if that's really encouraging, but it's just the same old, same old. It's the same stuff she's been saying for years now. So don't worry, you're not missing anything important. Well, what do you guys think? Is this a justified video? Do you think it even makes sense to try and bring the Queen into a discussion about veganism? I mean, maybe a few years ago when, the Queen could have actually done something, but this just seems like an easy way to jump on something that's popular. I don't think there's any actual intent to turn people vegan here. I think it's just for views. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and walk on over to that subscribe button and touch it. It's free. It won't cost you anything. But for now, that's all I have for you today. Bye.
Subscribe.